was at one of these meetings and I saw that mental health and substance use was the biggest issue. We weren't addressing it. And I was like, what's going on there? And so I brought it up with him. We all took turns being chairs, leaders of kind of managing the meeting and the discussion. And so after 2 years, I was like, my first day, I was like, I promised myself that once it became chair, I would not let us ignore mental health and substance use. And they all just looked at me like, oh no.
They didn't want to go there, huh?
But they had a really good reason for it. Julie, they're like, we don't have money for that. That's the Center for Mental Health's problem, not ours. And I went, I get it. So in the state of Colorado, and I don't know what it's like in other states, but I think it's pretty similar, where you have social services or human services, and they get the funding in for mental health. And so they do things like create what they call regional behavioral health authorities. And so happens to be that the same 6-county region where the health department directors is how the state also broke up the behavioral health authority or Center for Mental Health that was regional. And they were getting all the money to address it and we didn't have it. So we were focusing on physical health. And I'm looking at it from the big 10,000 foot perspective as best I can, maybe 1,000 foot level. And mental health affects physical health. Physical health affects mental health. We cannot silo this anymore. We have got to start thinking about this and addressing it. I'm like, well, we don't have the money. And I was like, okay, well, what if I look for a grant? What if a grant comes along? And they're like, fine. And so they're thinking, I know they're thinking that's not going to come along. Well, lo and behold, about a month, I don't know, maybe 2 months later, the grant comes available. Of course. So the federal government had noticed how many people are going to ERs with substance use issues, mental health crises, suicide rates, all this. And so the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid had an innovative grant out. It wasn't for all states. Colorado was one of the states that got it, one of only a handful of states. And so then when the whole state got it, they were like, which local health departments want to work on this? And I was like,
you volunteered.
So I applied for it. I didn't get it at first, and that's a whole another story in itself, but eventually I got it by being the squeaky wheel. I'm like, what do you mean I didn't get it? And I eventually got it. And so I basically was really shocked at how hard it was to move the needle, to make a change.